Welcome to the Franchise Woman podcast, where passion and purpose collide, profits are made, and relationships forged. I'm Rebecca Monet, CEO and Chief Scientist at Zoracle Profiles, along with my co-host, community advocate, speaker, author, and entrepreneur, Tracy Kawa. Tracy, we have a very special guest today, Ally Collinsworth. So today on the Franchise Woman podcast, Ally Collinsworth, a Dallas-based entrepreneur and a longtime group fitness instructor who made a strategic leap into franchising with the Barre method. After carefully weighing Barre versus Pilates, Ally chose Barre for one key reason: return on investment. Nearly 7 years later, she now operates one of the top performing studios in her brand system. We'll talk about her exciting journey, of course, why Barre won out, what investors should know about scalability, cost, the why behind buying, and how growing demand for low impact fitness has shaped her success. So, welcome to the show, Ally. I'm so glad you had some time today. I'm really excited about this interview.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I am too.
So, Ali, you've been on the consumer side of the business as a student, you've been a teacher, you've been an owner, but we want to know where it all started. Like, how did you get into the business of fitness and franchising?
So I'm from Dallas. So I grew up in the South, and like every good girl does, I did dance. And then I went on and did cheerleading. So I've always been very active, very aware of it, but also took a beating on my body over the years. And as I went into adulthood, I would try things like step aerobics and spin, Zumba, all the things. And one of my girlfriends told me about Bar Method, and this was 2010, and recommended I give it a try. So I did, and instantly I fell in love. It just was this moment of feeling at home again, as a dancer and as a cheerleader, being in a room of women group, I love, but the peacefulness, I could shut my brain off and just focus on this one thing. You had music going and you had one instructor guiding you through for the next 60 minutes. And it was like I got to let go of all the noise from the outside and just focus on me in that time. And the movement itself was very familiar from dance, cheerleading, and other workout modalities. So it felt familiar, safe. I mean, seems like a silly word, but it did. It didn't feel intimidating. I felt very welcomed and encouraged. So it just clicked for me. It just clicked for me as a student.
As I'm listening to you, I'm thinking about this idea of peaceful, as you said, and safe, and not loud and chaotic, but more, an instructor kind of taking you through the steps. I'm one of those people that appreciates quiet, and the chaos of other modalities almost feels too harsh, especially when I'm running a business. So tell me a little bit more about the importance of that level of peace, not just for your physical, but for your mental well-being, and how Barre addresses that.
Well, it's been interesting coming from the student side and what my experience was, and then as a teacher, watching how students reacted in a room, and now to being an owner, we get a lot of feedback. Our culture is big on feedback, not only within our staff, but also within our community. So we're constantly asking, how do you like something? What's working? What's not? And what we've come to find, which was something not on my radar at all, was how our studio coming in for that 45 minutes or an hour is really somebody's piece. Like that might be the only 45 minutes or an hour that they have to themselves, where the kids aren't tugging at their shirt, asking them for something, their husband's not needing something. If they're in the corporate world, they don't have employees asking them for something. They literally get to take that time for
Mhm.
themselves. And even on a level that nobody would have seen coming, we've had clients that have come in that maybe are in abusive relationships or have past trauma, let's say. And when we go and kindly and lovingly put our hands on them to adjust them, to push their shoulders down, to take the tension out of their neck, for them, sometimes that's the only loving touch that they might get in a day, you know? So that's been really interesting too, of like, for me to see it as a student of why I felt it was peaceful and important and filling my cup, let's say, to now be on this side and to have hundreds of clients coming in and seeing how it's important to them in different ways. It's not just a one shoe fits all. Like there's all these avenues, and that's been super, super special as an owner to see.
That's incredible that you describe it as safe. Like I never would have thought of a franchise as safe, like describing it that way. But to me, what's striking is it's safe on three levels from what I'm hearing you say. Like number one, it's safe with safe touch for
Mhm.
clients, like you said, who may have some kind of past trauma. It's safe because there's peace and no chaos. But
Mhm.
it also sounds like it's safe because you said you had past injuries. So
Yeah.
how is it safe on the body?
Well, this is what's fantastic. So we've been doing this for 25 years, and we finally feel like the industry generationally are coming up to what we've been screaming for 25 years, which is functional mobility, longevity. You know, it's not about being skinny, it's about being strong. And can you get up out of your chair when you're in your 60s, 70s, and 80s? Can you catch yourself when you're walking down the steps and you lose your balance, you know? So,
Mhm.
what's awesome about Bar Method is we are based in science. Ours is called Bar Method because there is a tried and true method behind it. We work with physical therapists. They build all the movements. They are highly tested and then they're launched. We get feedback, we change things. So everything that we do is safe for your body. You're right, Tracy. And like I was saying
Mhm.
before, we as instructors give adjustments. Sometimes it's hands-on, sometimes it's verbal, because I want to make sure that you're safe. For instance, if your shoulders are out of alignment, that's not good on your spine. So by saying, you know, Tracy, square your shoulders to keep your spine in alignment, that's going to make the muscle work.
Yeah.
Good job. That's going to make the muscle work. So you see the results and you're
Mhm.
not putting undue stress in areas that you aren't needed, you know? So
Yeah.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah. That makes it safe.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm so glad you asked that question, Tracy, because it is safety at several different levels,
Mhm.
including the business component. You chose to do this with the bar method, where there are scientists and physiologists and physical therapists that are working out these things. Never mind, the bar method had a method to grow a business. So that adds another level of safety. You know, bottom line, I think that's what we're all looking for and don't always find, whether that's in the corporate world or, like you mentioned, in a relationship where someone that could be unkind, etc. So talk to us a little bit. Ultimately, you decided bar, but you had a lot of other opportunities to look at. So, what were some of the kind of financial things you were looking at, or structure things, or business model things you were looking at where the bar method won out?
So I was really toying between bar and Pilates, because this was, you know, I started bar method teaching around 2011. And while I was ingrained in it and I loved it, also Pilates was starting to have their heyday as well.
Yeah.
And several of my friends own Pilates studios. So that's another great benefit is that we all get to talk and share ideas and stuff. And while we share a lot of the same movements and thought process and that kind of stuff, the execution is definitely different. And that's kind of what I had to look at. With bar method, our rooms can hold, let's say, anywhere from 28 to 30 to 33 people.
Mm.
Whereas when I was looking financially, and I'm like, okay, I can fit this amount of people in the room. And then if I look at Pilates and I can fit 10 to 15 in a room because the reformers are, you know, take up a good substantial footprint, I was like, okay, I can pay a teacher one class or I can pay three classes, two or three
Mhm.
for the same amount. So it was things like that that I started to look at. I looked at, you know, how are the studios set up? Like we all have flooring, We all have mirrors, we have weights, the basics, but they also have this very expensive piece of equipment that is a massive investment and upkeep, replacing the springs and that kind of stuff. And for me, I was like, I think this makes more sense to create a beautiful room where the focus is on the movement and the teaching and the quality of the method
Hmm.
versus the equipment and smaller scale class sizes. It just the return of investment for me was definitely on the bar side of what we could do.
Holly, do you find that most of the franchise owners in the brand are women, or do you have like an eclectic mix of women and men?
We're heavily men for sure. I mean, heavily women, excuse
I
me.
believe it. I was wondering.
Um, Heavily women for sure. There are some men, a lot of the husbands do help out and get involved. And surprisingly, I love hearing the men's take on it, the ones that I have gotten to know. And I feel their frustration of like, if men could understand how beneficial this is for their bodies and for their athleticism, like if they could understand that if you do bar method with the way we strengthen your muscles and the flexibility, mobility, you will be a better athlete. You can put out more output with less effort. And so I wish we had more men, and that's, our ever-changing struggle. I think it's because people think it's dance. They see a ballet bar and they think it's going to be dance. So we've really, really worked hard as a brand to create social media posts and reels to show the movement so they see this is physical fitness. This is strength training. This is not dancing. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll get more men owners in. If you know anybody, send them our way.
Send
Well,
them your
just
way. I'm so glad you clarified that because that was my perception,
Mhm.
right? That it was dance and ballet and things of that nature. But yet, this low impact fitness arena is really booming, and it sounds like we're making progress and shifting consumer behavior, especially men, to see the importance of low impact fitness.
Mhm.
Um, so how do you see that changing in the future? How do we edify others and let them know the importance of that, especially for folks like myself that are aged, um, that this is important to have that physical strength, not just, muscles.
Well, like I was saying earlier, luckily people now are trending that way. And because
Yeah.
I know, yay, because we've been doing this for 25 years, we already have the foundation for it. So we've got the added advantage to now split off under that bar method umbrella that we've created of um, science, proven results. And so now you'll see, like for us, we've offshooted classes. So we have a bar method strength class. So it's our tried and true bar method, but it's weight training because, ta-da, working with weights and resistance training and heavier weights creates
Hmm.
bone density, which is fabulous for women as we get older. We've added a bar method cardio class. I mean, heart disease is one of the number one killers in women. So work your heart, not just your muscles, but your heart, your cardiovascular, your circulation. We incorporated now a bar restore, which is restorative stretching. So you're elongating the muscles. You're taking that 30 minutes, like we were talking about earlier, Rebecca, of peace and just,
Yeah.
the music comes down. You have a more quiet moment. You quiet your mind. We have some other things in the mix that we're piloting right now. So being able to innovate and stay ahead of the curve and anticipate what those needs are going to be because it is going to a more holistic wellness.
Yeah.
If I want to go somewhere where I can get my cardiovascular, my strength, my stretching, I think it's really important to have your finger on that and be leading and going in that direction and listening, being present and listening to what clients are saying, what newer generations are saying, because as much as we're getting older, there's new generations coming in. We have to listen to them because they are going to dictate where we go. And I have to say, being a child of the 80s and 90s, where thin, thin, thin,
Oh
They
my.
all had body dysmorphia and eating disorders. I am so excited that the younger generations are more about body positivity and overall wellness and longevity and taking the skinny out of it because I think long term it's just going to be not only physically but mentally a healthier round of people.
So speaking of age and generations, is it also for older people who
Oh,
lose their mobility as they age?
yes. So that's what's super cool because we are based in science. We have modifications for everything, like literally everything. So you get one-on-one attention, even though you're in a group class. Um, but yes, I mean, again, being an owner, things I never thought of, I have 80-year-old clients. And let me tell you, I have 80-year-old clients that are now in the splits. Like it's so
Oh, oh
cool.
my goodness,
It's so
that's so
cool.
cool.
Yeah, it does make you, it inspires you when you've got a room and you've got an 18-year-old, and then over here you've got a 78-year-old, and they're both kicking butt. I won't cuss because I'm a cusser, but they're both kicking butt. And it's so great to see. And seeing the women come in, let's say, like Tracy, like you were saying, older, and we do get them that are like, I've never worked out a day in my life, and I need to do something. And I'm so glad they come to us because this is the perfect thing to start with. Again, because of the modifications, but also because of the environment and the community. Like when we have a new person that comes in, the veterans immediately, oh, are you new? Come stand by me. Like you get
Oh,
this
I love
like
that.
buddy system that's really cool. And especially the older generation that might be intimidated, it's really nice for them to walk in and go, oh, I'm not the only one. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we have a lot of older people working out now, and I love it because it's just where we need to be. We need to be that way, and we need to be a community from 16 to 80, whatever, and support each other.
Yeah, that's great.
Agreed.
Mhm.
Agreed. I wish doctors and physical therapists would just make these kind of introductions. Go over to the bar method. This
Yeah.
is what you need for that ongoing bone density and strength and flexibility, all things that are important whether we're young or whether we're old, those are kind of things. But you hit something that I
Mm.
thought was really fascinating. It's almost like there's a culture of inclusivity that is going in. It isn't like you're a superstar executive and blah, 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 and you're an old woman or a
Yeah.
bodybuilder or whatever. There feels like there's a very distinct culture here. Can you talk more about what that culture is from your perspective?
Yeah, I sure can. I can only speak on my studio and some of the studios I've been to, but I really firmly believe it starts with the top. Whoever the owner is, you have to cultivate that culture. It doesn't just happen. I mean,
Hmm.
especially in the fitness industry, I feel like everybody's default is to be competitive, whether it's because of Orange Theory and Soul Cycle and stuff where, your numbers on the board, are you red, green, or whatever? And some people thrive in those environments, and that's awesome. But other people, that can be incredibly intimidating. So I like that our studios strip that. And the fact, if you've ever taken a bar method class, you so have to think about what you're doing. You don't have time to look around the room. You don't have time to compare yourself to the person next to you because you're thinking, I need to have my shoulders down. Let me squeeze my butt cheeks a little bit tighter. Ooh, could I come up an inch lower? Oh, now my legs are shaking. What does that mean? Like, there's so much going on that I love that it distracts you from even being able to look around the room and compare yourself. But even like from the start, walking in, the environment that I created was this is a place of joy. If you ask anybody in my staff, she said this has to be a place of joy. That's what I wanted. I went through a divorce opening this, so I was like, this is joy. And so I think starting that the minute they walk in the door, they don't feel intimidated because when they walk in, we're like, hey, Rebecca, oh my God, we're so glad you're here. How did you hear it? Like, you
Yeah.
kind of feel like this, like I've never met y'all, but here I am having this lovely conversation with two girls that I feel like are my friends. It's that same kind of thing that you create in your studio so they don't feel the intimidation, they don't feel the comparison. And when we do it, the clients do it. And now the clients lift up the new peoples that come in and they go have coffee after and stuff. It's real cute.
That's really nice. It's
Mhm.
like you're
Yeah.
building camaraderie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. To remove that compare, contrast,
Hmm.
and that sense of competition. The other thing is, I'm kind of listening to you. We're fully present in our body.
Hmm.
How often do we do that? I'm always in my head. I'm always in the future. I'm not in my body 99% of the day. This is an opportunity to be fully and completely within your body. Is that how you would describe it?
Yeah, and I think that's why going back to my first time in class, that piece, it was that. It was that you're shutting off the noise and you're able to just go, she said my glutes should be tight. Okay, let me do that. What are my glutes? I mean, I don't know. It is that moment where you get to just really listen to your body. And we always talk about create that mind body connection, of like, what is that? Most people don't know how to engage their abs or to squeeze
Mm.
their glutes or even know what it is. So to start creating that connection with your body that even takes you out of the studio, just everyday stuff. When you stand up, that felt weird. I think I was leaning forward. I wasn't engaging my core. Let me do that next time. So I think it just
Wow.
helps to tune people into the beauty of a body and the biology and everything and the mechanics of it.
Like being more aware of yourself, but in a good way,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
self-aware, but
Yeah.
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 So, how do you think that Ally, as an owner, is different because she was a student first?
Because I know what it feels like in the beginning when you're going, what the, what am I
Yeah.
doing? Why are my legs shaking? It's because it is such a mindful workout, and most people are used to getting on a treadmill and running or just pulling on a machine or whatever, that it's different and it is scary. And again, because people think we're dance, it feels intimidating at first until you kind of sink into it and go, okay, I can do this. I can do this. So I think having that experience and knowing what what it feels like is a lot. And because I love it and I believe in it,
Mm.
I have the ability to talk them off the ledge, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
It does give you perspective, having come from doing it yourself and more empathetic
Yeah.
to what a student would do. But you hit on something I want to dig a little deeper in, and that is this conviction, this passion. How important is that to being not just successful as a student, but successful as an owner? Tell me more about why conviction and passion is so important.
Yeah, I mean, I think, going back to when I was thinking about what would I do, nobody's going to sell it like you do. So if you're not double down, if you are not all in, they're not going to buy it. If you don't believe in what you're selling, and this can be anything. I mean, you've been somewhere where somebody's trying to sell you something and you're like, you don't really care. But whereas when somebody genuinely cares about it and you can feel it and you can sense it and it's like coming out of their pores, you're like, I want that. What does she have? Because I want some of that. Like, it's that feeling. And I think it's really important, especially as you get into business. You want to make sure that you love, kind of, we talked about this before, of like, do you love the product? Do you love the culture? Does the brand stand for something that you really resonate with? You've got to have something that connects you and hooks you in. Because then, on the days that your toilet is overflowing and your client is calling and telling you something is wrong and she didn't like XYZ, you're okay because the foundation of loving whatever that is there, that it overpowers all the other stuff because toilets do overflow and all that stuff.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Welcome to the
That's
real world, right?
Oh, I
great.
know. But I
Running
wouldn't
a
do anything else. I wouldn't do anything else. You could not get me to go back to the court. I loved what I did in the corporate world. You could not pay me. I absolutely love what I do.
What did you do in the corporate world?
I was a commercial producer, so I made TV commercials for like Hyundai, Ram trucks, Apple computers. So yeah, I was in that world and I loved it. And I think the similarities being that I loved budgets and multiple things going on at once and creating
Mm,
something and managing a team. I liked, having
mm,
a group of creatives and they all had different personalities and how do you work with them? And then you've got vendors, let's say directors and uh, editors and all that kind of stuff. So going into owning the studio while I was completely clueless on how to start a business and run it, it was trial by fire. But I wouldn't trade it. Like I really, really learned because I had to learn. It was sink or
yeah.
swim, and by God, I was
Right.
going to figure it out. So I was lucky that I had that training before and was very good with money. And I knew I'm in this business to make money. So what do I need to do to make money?
Great.
So some of that you did right up front, where you paid attention to the head count of number of students versus equipment costs, uh, labor costs, all of those things. So when you're looking at today and you're looking at continuing to grow, what financial things or logistical things are you looking for to continue to grow?
Well, I would say in the last this year was my best year ever. It was a banner year and I made some big changes and it's humbling, but here we go. So I thought I can do everything. I am A type. I'm a Southern girl. I'll do it. I can do it. I can do everything. And, I just turned 50 and I was like, I can't do anything. I can't do it all. So I finally really started looking at, and I'm very, very blessed and lucky that I have had a team that has been with me from almost the start. I have staff that's been with me. I'm now going into my ninth year that have been with me from the start, and others have been with me for at least a couple of years. So I really got to take a step back, look at my team, and go, I need to trust them. I need to have faith that they are
Mm,
capable of doing more than I'm allowing them to. And I now need to do what people did for me and give them an opportunity to shine and give them responsibility and give them roles. And let me tell you guys, that was a game changer in my business. I have a studio
wow.
manager, social media girl. We do social media every Thursday. And if you follow our social media, we are goofy and we have so much fun doing it. But allowing them to help, but allowing them to help and step in has ended up being an even better gift because now I get to sit back like a proud mama and be like, that they've all grown and they have now doubled down into the business. They are now all in on my little studio. So everybody's invested on its success in the community and the things that we're doing to build our community and stay connected. They're bringing ideas that I'm like, oh, great, let's do it. How do we implement it? So it's like this snowball now that's like rolling down the
Wow.
hill and getting bigger. So that's the biggest change that I've noticed. And financially it's coming. I mean, it's the benefits
Wow.
are there from there. Let's just say, yeah.
So great.
Yeah.
It's so difficult to relinquish, like to go from being in the doing to being in the overseeing or just, hey, let me know what's happening, right? Just keep me in the loop, but you handle it. You own that part of it. It's difficult.
It
That's
is
Yes.
because I think also too, this is like we said, we're in this to make money. So I'm like, I know that I would do it a certain way, and by God, it'll be the right way. To let somebody else do it, you sometimes think, oh, is that going to cost me though? Is that going to be at the detriment of, but you don't know unless you try. And I just had to get to a point where I looked and I was like, I have so much talent on this team that I need to tap into that. And let's be real. Yes, I'll probably hold on to this for another 20 years, but then what? Like,
Yeah.
I would want one of them to take over. You know what I mean? It's like, or to go open their own studios. We now encourage our staff and I encourage my clients. Like, if you want to open a studio, go and I will be your mentor. So there's now not only just a financial reward to it, but really a soul reward of watching them grow and blossom and see the joy that I see in the studio and like love it like I love it. I'm like, yes, this is great.
Mhm.
It really is, it builds conviction in them.
Mhm.
I have a tendency, like Tracy is talking about, doing things myself. I have a higher expectation of myself than I do on others.
Mhm.
And people, well, the first law of psychology is people will do what's expected of them, right? So if you're expecting here, then they're going to go here. But if you're expecting here, they're going to go here,
Mhm.
kind of thing. So it's interesting. What all do you share with your team? Do you share your numbers and do you share your goal? And do they go, okay, fine, I'm going to do more of this, I'm going to do less of that? I mean, tell me about the financial component. Do you share that?
Yeah. So, me personally, I'm an open book, even just on a personal, but that's how I operate. I feel like if you share, then people can hold you accountable. You speak it into existence. That is very much how I live my life, sometimes to my detriment, but that's just how I am. So, yes, I started probably maybe 2 years ago, started sharing numbers and saying, here's our membership. This is what our goal is. And I mean, so every month, at the end of the month, I do a recap email to the entire staff, so desk and teachers, so they know exactly where we are. What are the specials? How many have we sold? Who's left and canceled? Who's come in? Who's viable to convert? Like, they are very much aware of the business side of things. Now, whether they want to be interested or not is up to them. But I do feel like if it's important, if I'm asking you to sell and to convert clients and to connect with clients, then I've got to give you the information as to why. Otherwise, it's just, all right. I mean, she looks like she's doing good. Looks like the studio's good. Classes are full, but it's
Mhm.
like, and I share in their hardships. Like, hey, we did this remodel. I just did a remodel of the studio because we're going into our ninth year and it needed a refresh. I told them how much it cost because they needed to know what the investment was that I was putting back into them and our community. So
Wow.
they understood, like, oh, okay, this is where I mean, I want them to know that the profits go to me, but I also give a lot of it back into them and our community and the studio because it's that cycle. So yeah, they're very aware. They don't know my exact sales numbers, but they know membership numbers, and how much we're selling and all that kind of stuff. And I do have my studio manager has full access because she is the person that we will sit down and brainstorm of like, all right, we're low this month. How do we get up? What can we do? And I think that's it's really important to have somebody on your team like that.
Yeah, it's very commendable, right?
Mhm.
To include everybody because then they understand what needs to happen. They understand the numbers. Do,
Mhm.
do you have maybe an example of somebody on your team who you mentored or shared something with that they all of a sudden had a turnaround in the way that they performed?
I'm trying to think. Not really. I have somebody right now that I hired that was on hard times, and she is a friend of one of our clients' daughters. And the mom had come to me and said she'd love a job. And I was like, hmm. And she told me what was going on. And I was like, game on. Okay, I'm going to invest in her. So we sat down, we talked, and I said, this will be a temporary thing. We'll see how it goes. I need you to check in with me. And we started talking, and she would check in. She had some trauma and some abuse and stuff that happened recently. So now she's going through the legal thing. So I was like, if you need me to speak on your behalf, I will. So it's been great to watch her. And I've told her, like, I understand this is going on, but this is also a professional place. And we just met for 2026. I'm like, okay, you've been here since May. So now these are my expectations for 2026. And she was like, got it. They're on my goals. I will make it happen. So in that sense, I guess you could say it's
Yeah.
not necessarily the business side of things financially, but it is very much the like supporting and seeing where there's a diamond in the rough that just needed some love that like anybody else would have been like, no, I'm not going to hire. But going like, I've been there and
Mhm.
I've somebody took a chance on me at one point, so it's
Mhm.
my turn to take a chance on you and let's do this. Yeah.
I have the chills from that story, like
Oh.
literally head to toe.
She's
Oh,
great. She's a wonderful human being. She's beautiful and she's finally building her confidence back up and getting back out into the world and stuff and realizing she does have value and whatever happened does not define her. She's really
Yeah.
coming out of it. And so
Beautiful.
I'm excited to see where she ends up at the end of the year. She got a new job. So yeah, we're making
Great,
progress.
great
Oh,
job. That's
Yeah.
so great that you took a chance on her. That's so
Yeah.
wonderful.
that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
It's interesting how at the same time you're saying, I understand this trauma, I understand what you're going through, and this is a business. You're letting her know this is okay. I understand you're processing. I know there's probably still some residual pain that you're going through and some big decisions, but this is business. So you're able to validate all of the parts of who she is, right, in that situation, which made me think. I have a strong medical background, taught at a naturopathic medical school for 12 years. And there was a book out years ago called The Body Remembers.
Hmm.
Um, so do you see that with the bar where people are actually releasing some
Hmm.
traumas
Hmm.
from the past, whatever that might be?
Yeah, it's interesting. And I mean, I know this happens in yoga a lot and stuff, but we do have clients in certain parts of classes, especially at the end or during the restorative stretch, that you'll just see tears coming down their face.
Crying,
I mean, the
yeah.
body really holds stuff. Like my mother just passed away a couple of months ago, and I remember for the first, it's now been 2 months, but like I wouldn't go take certain classes because I knew the slow songs and the
Oh,
stretching would like create that release, and I wasn't ready to do it publicly. But
publicly, yeah.
absolutely, it does happen. I mean, you will, and the interesting part of that is like when that happens, we're not the people that go and look the other way. Like after class, we'll go up and be like, Robin, are you okay? What's going on? What can I do to support you? Like that's what's interesting about bar
Mhm.
methods specifically in the community is like our clients are our family. Our client, just as much as we're in tune with our bodies, we're in tune with the people that are in the room with us. And you can feel it. You can feel when somebody's off, when they come in, and then when they leave and they feel a little bit lighter, or maybe they're still heavy hearted and they just need, and I obnoxiously call them the 10-second hugs, where you just hug them as tight as you can for 10 seconds. Because, yeah,
I love that.
when I worked at Lululemon, I mean, you give somebody a good solid 10-second hug and it releases a lot of
Yeah.
what they're holding on to. So yeah, we do. We do see it quite a bit.
Wow. Guys, we could talk and talk and talk about this, couldn't we? I have one last question. Tracy might have something, but I have one last question. If you were to go back to the younger you, is there anything you would tell her that could benefit her? Is there any kind of advice you would give her or insights?
So I have a tattoo that says to change one thing is to change everything.
Mhm.
So I have a lot of trauma in my past, body dysmorphia, eating, all the things. And I think that little Allie would not have listened to what I've said, because we just don't. So would I like to go back and just have a heartfelt conversation that maybe that nugget would hit Allie at 20 instead of 40? Sure. But ultimately, I just really groundedly feel that whatever our path is meant to be our path, and it's what gets us there. I would not be here if all these other things that were actually awful and tragic didn't happen to get me to this place, to sit in this chair, to be doing a podcast for corporate. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I would love to have a conversation and hopefully maybe she would have some extra wisdom at a younger age. But I mean, honestly, no.
Oh,
Is that
yeah.
terrible?
No, it makes total
Great.
sense because it made you who you are and the blessing that you have become to so many
Yeah.
others. And it was kind of cute when you said she probably wouldn't have listened
She
anyway.
wouldn't.
Right.
She wouldn't have
That
listened.
was
Well,
cute.
and I can empathize, I can sympathize, I can connect with people because of the things that I've been through. Like if
Yeah.
I was to go back and change all that stuff, I don't know if I would be the person I am as an owner, as a friend, as a stepmother, and all that had I not gone through all that. So, yeah,
Hmm.
and she wouldn't have listened. I know me. I'm a Sagittarius. I'm a Southern Sagittarius. I would not have listened.
A
Let's be real.
stubborn Southern Sagittarius.
Yeah, I would not have listened. I would have been like, yeah, 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 I know better.
Funny. So if someone wanted to learn more
Mhm.
about the bar method, how would they go about doing that?
Well, on the website, there is a thing that says interested in franchising, but email my studio, whiterocklake@barmethod.com. I will happily talk to you, honestly. Like, I love having conversations with people that are interested in the bar method or interested in owning a fitness franchise and they're looking at different brands because I can speak to at least this brand and some other ones because I have done a lot of them and my friends own some of them. So, I can speak authentically to it, but I love talking to people that are interested in it because again, if we can get more owners, that builds the brand. And then if we can all be healthy through bar method, we'll save the world. So, I'm
There you
The
go.
world, I
Save
like
the
it.
world.
My mission is save the world.
one tuck at a time.
I keep thinking the whole time, oh my gosh, my posture. Um, Thank you, Ally, for being with us today. We sincerely appreciate. I can feel the conviction. I can feel the passion. Not only is it attractive, it's like a bright light that,
Oh.
brings us forward. And it makes me think, where in my life do I have that same level of passion? And what can I do to add a little bit of fire like what you have? So thank you for sharing that and all your other wisdom. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. This was super fun. I'll do it anytime.
And Tracy, always to you for our final words.
Punt it over. Punt it over. So, you know what? I really appreciate what you just said, Allison, and I'm going to paraphrase it. Like, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And that really put the icing on the cake of what I wanted to say to you. Because since I got on the podcast for the pre-conversation, I just have this intense feeling of like authenticity emanating from you, just in how you show up, in hearing what you share with your team, how you encourage others. And you're just so comfortable in your body. You're so comfortable in who you are. Maybe it is all from the bar method. Maybe it is from what you learned along the way, but authenticity, just a
Oh,
bright light of authenticity. So
you guys are gonna make me cry. Thank you.
So
I really appreciate the time to talk about bar method and just, you know, get to know you guys. This was really, really fun.
it'll be fun.
we're glad you had fun. We certainly had fun.
We did, yeah.
So thank you. And thank you to those that are listening in today to the Franchise Woman podcast, where passion and purpose collide, profits are made, and relationships forged. Obviously, we want you to comment, share, like the interview today with Ally Collinsworth. And we'll see you next week on another episode.